Good in the evening, good in the afternoon, good up the Khyber, right up the jungle, big up the small of your back. Biatch! It's Munted News, bringing you data, disguised as data. Look over there, a distraction. Our first story tonight. Yet another brutal gang of white supremacist right-wing extremists have been recorded publicly assaulting a homosexual of colour and quite literally shouting, "Go home." Living proof! Right here, ladies and gentlemen, in black and white and broad bastarding daylight. Living, breathing, ambulating proof that the right wing is a clear and present violent menace. And yet these drunken, neck-bearded gammons on the internet try to tell us that the alt-right is some kind of myth or something. How else could you possibly explain scenes as damning as this? Hey? It's clearly a crowd of white homophobic racists attacking a defenseless individual of colour and rainbow. Any other explanation would be too ironic for my brain to comprehend the embarrassment of admitting I was wrong about. If these were the actions of people calling themselves anti-fascists, the irony would be so thick that it would not fit between the air molecules as it hurtled through the atmosphere at light speed, causing a wave of nuclear fusion that killed all the hedgehogs. "I was shocked," said the hapless and pulverized skinhead. I never used to trust those roaming gangs of caterwauling middle-class thugs, but now they've decked me in the head and thrown quick-drying cement in my face. I can totally see where they're coming from. Hail, whoever it is they worship. Long live whatever you want to call it. YouTube have responded by randomly demonetizing unconnected channels for no reason. In other news, Glastonbury Festival has been crudely vandalized by right-wing trolls. Joke experts have unanimously concluded that the notion of no borders being promoted right there on the sprawling face of a border fence encircling an event that costs 250 quid to get into can only possibly be the work of Russian trolls trying to make the regressive left look like the stunned infant playing peekaboo that they in fact are. The organisers of the festival have not yet taken action to remove the offending paraphernalia because they have not yet got the joke. YouTube have responded by randomly deleting unconnected channels for no reason. News from Europe now. Tension mounts as Angela Merkel's soul attempts to re-enter her body. Until recently, the incorporeal spirit of Ms. Merkel's conscience has been in the possession of a mercenary desert djinn named Alan, who purchased it at an auction 27 years ago for the price of 3 chicken wings and a can of lilt. The soul has since evaded its capture, but in a bid to seek refuge in a living body, it has faced only sanctions and renditions, or in Ms. Merkel's case, a system without any feasible entry points because it's so sodden with foreign bodies that its whole circulatory system is foobar from the ground up. Neither the Chancellor nor her wandering spirit have been available for comment, but her long-estranged, disembodied sense of perspective, whom we met in a remote log cabin in the Yukon, told us in an interview, "Turn out the lights. Don't look at me. I'm a monster, I tell you. A monster. What's wrong with my face? My God, why? Centipedes, no." YouTube have responded by going out into a field at night and throwing pennies at unsuspecting cows. Over to Andrew Yang. Thanks, Andrew. Tulsi?
How are you going to deal with the... That's our objective.
Thanks, Tulsi. My God, that was a mouthful. Over to a reanimated Bride of Frankenstein zombie who has already eaten their own brain, but at least they're only interested in smearing the president.
I think most people think of rape as being sexy.
You can see that interview in full 3 times an hour here at Munted News. Speaking of the skullduggerous machinations of the undead, the corpse of yet another toddler has been found washed up at a shore close to the American border. Pictured here. Patrol officers have found no signs of life on the bleached cadaver, despite poking it with increasingly sharp sticks. Bone-chilling, said the local sheriff. And I mean bone-chilling, he continued. I've never seen anything so putrid. The flesh had sunken from its gums, leaving these multiple jagged rows of Stonehenge protrusions erupting from its gaping maw, like the illicit offspring of extinct pygmies and the very hounds of hell. And it had these bulbous bug eyes like some kind of anemic son of a gremlin. When I looked into them, it's almost as though they understood. None of the local hospitals were able to help, since they've all been declared concentration camps and shut down on humanitarian grounds. Since no family has come forward to identify the body, it has been exhumed, ground up, and processed into a limited edition brand of LGBT trail mix. The Queen of Spain, pictured here, left 5,000 text messages with the authorities complaining about their reckless use of the offensive slur LGBT. What am I, a cashew nut? She said. I mean, I know I do actually call myself a cashew nut, and my Twitter handle is @cashew-flavoured chocolate stabber, but that's no excuse. My name may not be uttered by the unworthy. It's empowering when I do it, but it's a death sentence for anyone else. I don't understand why anyone doesn't love me right now. It must be because they all hate nuts. She then unsheathed a ceremonial rondel and slaughtered a pigeon in front of everyone in a regal display of dominance. Her Majesty is now calling on all her subjects to commit brazen assault in public, and by a hilarious coincidence, these public assaults are continuing to happen, and indeed escalate. YouTube has responded by burying its head in the sand, eating the sand, then vomiting the sand into a large pile of sand and sick, then burying its head in the sand and sick, and then eating the sand and sick and repeating the process until its head is buried in more sick than sand. It then proceeded to nonchalantly blow bubbles in a cavity full of its own vomit all day, every day, until it learned how to breathe out of its ass. Oh, and a dead donkey. An actual dead donkey. Like a classic buddy cop movie, it was days away from retirement when he got stabbed to death. Actual dead donkey. Can you believe it? The news is a joke. Literally, it's a joke come to life. Just how much is life going to imitate art before some git pulls the curtain down and goes, ta-da! It was all a joke! And I'm afraid we are indeed going to have to drop the story of the dead donkey, not because we don't have time, but because the murderers in question are of an indiscriminate race. We will revisit it once we can confirm and or fabricate that the perpetrators are white males, and as such can be held to the agency and responsibility reserved strictly for human standards. That is the end. This is the end. These are the end. You are the end. And I will end you. And I will end this in the end, with the end of an end. Behold the end! The end is coming up any day now. Behold and praise bounteous, for the end is no longer just nigh, it is super nigh, several levels above ordinary nigh, for the end will be swift and